suppose that what I love about it is, in the beginning it was about just building a collection and building something that means something to me. But as time goes on, it's sort of got a slightly different meaning. You mentioned before about preserving history, and that is starting to sort of, hit home a little bit. Passionate? Well, yeah, that's probably a good way to put it. I've always had horse racing in my life since a little kid. Yeah, my grandfather, Sam Carroll, was a jumps jockey, and he was a jumps jockey in the days where there were nearly 100 jumps jockeys. Pretty hard way to make a living. He rode in the 1934 Warrnambool Grand Annual, and that was a race where all the horses fell. And I've got a picture on the wall there. He was the last horse left standing, and over he went. What I found as a collector, I tend to collect in themes. My first theme was the Warrnambool Grand Annual. There is so much history in racing, probably 95% of it, that people don't know about it or it's lost. But there are so many stories, fascinating stories, that are just at risk of being lost. So I would just have my antenna up for anything to do with the Grand Annual. One object on its own is no big deal, but if you can weave it into a story with other things around it, it becomes a really significant thing. If I had one favourite item in the room, it would be a painting that I found of what I believe is horses racing on the beach at Jetty Flat in Warrnambool. That's my holy grail. I saw this painting of a horse jumping a fence. Picked it up and I looked at it and I thought, that's a jumps race and they're racing on the beach. This is Warrnambool. And I froze and I had this moment and I thought to myself, there's 5,000 people here and I'm the only person who probably knows what this is. So I went up to the lady and I said, look, how much is this? She said, oh, it's $18. And I okay, just stay calm. And she said, oh, it's an oil. And I said, yeah, no, I'm not arguing about the price. It turns out the painting is done by I. Phillips. Ivor Phillips was the secretary of the Warrnambool Race Club. So all of a sudden, everything fell into place. So this painting was done by Ivor Phillips in 1896. It's probably the best $18 I've ever spent, that one, yeah. It's the thrill of the chase, I suppose. You set your mind to something, and I don't know if you've ever backed a 100 to 1 winner, but you get that little sensation of yes, you know, and something turns up and you go, yes. A lot of racing is around storytelling, and a lot of what you see here are artefacts around the story. So I might find something that doesn't look much, but when you research the story around it, it suddenly becomes a cool little object. There's a picture over there of a fellow on a horse jumping a fence. It's actually the Prince of Wales in 1920 schooling a horse at Caulfield. Then as I researched it, and then found out that it won an Australian steeplechase, that it was gifted to the Prince as a gift, I thought, what a great story. There he is at Caulfield, giving it a test out in his, little peak cap. Now to me that's a lost bit of history. So things like that, and as you're sort of uncovering the story or the history, it's like, this is cool. I feel like I've created something that's unique and that reflects me and my interests. And I will just stare at a photo and think, that's pretty cool, that's sort of connected to that and connected to that. Which to me is just marvellous. I love it. I love it, yeah, I do. I love it when I find something that's really cool.